So your channel is called The Retirement Nerds. Maybe explain a little bit about what your channel is and the type of videos that you do.
Yeah, so as the name kind of suggests, is we tackle topics that are specific to retirement. Now, the vast majority of our audience is older, so think 55 plus. That doesn't mean that those under 55 wouldn't benefit from it. Now, we have kind of four pillars on the channel. Medicare is where I kind of nerd out, so I'm the Medicare nerd. For those who aren't familiar, that's kind of health insurance for seniors, 65 and older. We have Social Security, which again is benefits for seniors. We have financial planning and then estate planning. So the financial planning and estate planning really do come into play for people like us, right? So 20s, 30s, 40s, 50-year-olds, where they're trying to prepare for retirement in a smart way as they're younger. And then once you get to those big, massive, complicated government programs at 65 or older, that's where our channel kind of comes in. And so most of my videos are educational videos that are explaining how Medicare, Social Security, investment accounts, and estate planning actually work. And it's funny because I think a lot of viewers want me to be more political or be more opinionated on certain things. But there are more viewers that I think are more appreciative of the fact that I try to stay as neutral as possible. And I'm just explaining how things work. And then we can kind of work together around what ideas there are out there of how we think they should work. But that's kind of the gist of what the channel is about. It's not a lot of bells and whistles, not a lot of explosions or big, huge event entertainment side things, but it's just educational for people.
That's awesome. It's very important stuff to know. So I'm glad there's people like you out there doing that type of content. How long have you been doing the YouTube channel for?
So this specific YouTube channel, we officially started it about 4 years ago. Now, for anybody who's started a YouTube channel, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about here, but you have a Gmail account, you go to YouTube, and you start a YouTube channel. So that was 4 years ago. We put a video on the channel about 4 years ago just to have a placeholder. We weren't really serious about it. And then after about 6 or 7 months, just in the industry that we were in, I felt like it was a good idea to start making videos on YouTube to help with our internal business. So to take another step back a little bit, I was part of an agency of insurance brokers who help specifically with Medicare. And so around that, you have seniors coming into an environment talking about insurance that is a foreign language to most people. And we would have an hour to meet with people. And in that hour, we found that the first 45 minutes of every conversation was the same. And we're dealing with, again, foreign words that they weren't fully comprehending, not at any fault of their own. It's just something that people don't really think about. And I started to think, like, what if we sent a video to our clients that were coming to meet us already that outlined that 45-minute discussion perfectly? And then we could spend that hour of time on things that are answering questions or helping them develop that understanding or talking about the more important aspects of what they're going to have to deal with in retirement, rather than that 45-minute conversation explaining the difference between two insurance plans that are out there for seniors. So that's how it started. It wasn't trying to grow a YouTube audience. It was, how can I make specific videos for our existing clients to answer their most common questions?
Yeah. Did you see a lot of success? Like, did you feel like you were having those same conversations still, or did that do what you wanted in like covering the topics that were brought up a lot with those conversations?
Yeah, I think that the quality of the video at the time isn't like this, right? Like over time, we're developing studios or whatever else to make it look nicer. So it didn't look like this, but in terms of the content delivered, I think we nailed it in the sense of, you think of in an agency and there are multiple, call it employees, who are interacting with different clients, and one employee might know a certain topic better or worse than another, and they might deliver it in a more polished or a more awkward way than others. And so from the video perspective, we were able to put out, it's not perfect, but it was delivered in a way that we felt was appropriate to clients so that they were getting that message exactly how we wanted it, with as much information for them as possible. And so that made those meetings with the agents so much more efficient. And what we learned is that the questions that our clients had in Salt Lake City, Utah, there were millions of people across the country that had those same questions. And so I think if people are starting their YouTube journey, I don't know that my case right now is the best one to use, but our third video went the equivalent of viral in the Medicare space. So our third video got 250,000 views. It got us over that 1,000 subscriber limit to get monetized. Most of the YouTube experiences that I've been involved with, because I have other channels that I deal with as well, third video probably isn't going to get viral for you. It's finding a little bit more information around your audience and what's going to really click. But in that sense, that kind of got us started, and that was a great start for us to start moving forward on becoming more serious about YouTube outside of just our clients, our local clients, and what could we do nationally with this.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I actually want to jump back a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, when you talk to people and you're like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I feel like people don't usually say like, oh, I want to go into the insurance field. I want to talk about Medicare. So how did you get into, the industry of insurance and things like that?
Yeah, so I wanted to be a doctor. So this kind of the story around that is I played basketball growing up, and we had a team of 8 kids on our basketball team, just kind of like a travel team.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 of those 8 kids lost vision in their eyes. One was just a freak accident. He got poked in the eye. It detached his retina, never got fixed. And then another friend of mine got in a car accident, and he lost vision in his eye. And so growing up, and as I started going through college and everything else, I was like, man, it would be cool if I could invent like the bionic eye and get my friends their vision back. That would
be awesome.
That was the like grand goal. And so I went through, I speak a different language. And so when I got into college, one of the counselors was like, look, if you know another language, major in that, and you can focus all of your time on the pre-med classes and get good grades there. So that's what I did. As I went through college, my wife had our first kid. And then as I was graduating, she was pregnant with our second kid. So all I had to do was take the MCAT and then apply to medical schools. With her being pregnant with her second child and understanding what that first pregnancy was like and the time commitments, she has an uncle who's a prominent cardiologist here in Salt Lake City. And so we sat down with him and his wife and just kind of asked, what does our future look like? And his wife was like, I was a single mom for 12, 13, 14 years, where he was off doing medical school, residency, fellowship, and then working. And my wife and I had a conversation around that wasn't the life that we really wanted. And a lot of changes were happening in the healthcare space, just based off of the time that I was able to shadow doctors, going through the pre-med requirements, going through research, and all of the things that are part of that. And so I kind of took a step back, and what I was working in at the time was this startup company, and it was exciting, and there was kind of building something new. And so we kind of made a shift, and that startup ended up getting bought. And then I created another little startup company with a friend of mine. One of our biggest clients was in the insurance space specific to pharmacy benefits. So you think of like prescription drugs and managing all of that. They're called a PBM, or a pharmacy benefit manager. And that got acquired. And then one of our clients as part of that was a health insurance company. So you think of like the big carriers. It's one here locally, but if you think of like United Healthcare, Cigna, Humana, Aetna, an insurance company. And then from there, one of our clients was this Medicare agency that offered a plan that we had as that insurance company, just kind of developing the relationship with the president of that company at the time, and an opportunity arose. So it's this big kind of winding path of now I'm in the insurance space, and a lot of my doctor friends that I was shadowing in the past is like, oh, you've gone to the dark side. Like the insurance companies are the bad guys. You were supposed to go the good direction. So that's kind of the long story of how I ended up where I'm at.
Gotcha. That's an interesting story. I bet there's a lot of YouTubers out there, maybe not the exact same story, but who start wanting to do one thing and then end up in a completely different field. So do you regret going that path or the way things went, or do you feel like it was for the best?
No, not at all. I mean, I have a couple of great friends. My best friends growing up in high school, they went the medical school route. One's an orthopedic surgeon, one's an interventional radiologist. I mean, they went that route, and I look at their lives that they've gone through, and they are the personality type that could handle it. I think that with my wife and kids coming along and just my personality, I don't know that I would have been able to handle the challenges and the things that come from that experience. And then I think coming full circle to where I am today, I think those experiences of being on the doctor side and being on the hospital side and then being on the drugs, prescription drug side and insurance side, I think it gives me a unique opportunity to connect with my audience and bring them a complete perspective about what's going on in healthcare in general, because there are so many siloed, fragmented parts of healthcare. So where the fact that I've lived in many of those silos helps to build the picture around why certain things are happening the way they are, or why are costs the way that they are, or if something is pulled, a lever is pulled over here, that's going to have causes and effects on another side of things for their healthcare. So I think that all in all, I mean, being a YouTuber, as silly as it sounds, I mean, it's the best life I could have ever imagined. I just never would have thought that it was a career opportunity way back in the day.